A tense warning hangs in the air as chaos envelops a ruined wasteland. Amongst the debris, a desperate hand emerges and a man in a suit stumbles, calling out for Doc. The devastation around them is palpable. A young man, wide-eyed and trembling, observes the fiery skyline. Shadows linger ominously, leaving viewers gripped with tension and uncertainty. With a somber backdrop of a collapsed bridge, emotions run high. Dokja looks on in disbelief, understanding the gravity of what has happened. Uncertainty looms. How did Manhwa and Sangah survive, and what's their next move? Thoughts of ruin settle as a blessing of a constellation emerges, adding an air of supernatural mystery. Amidst an explosion of light, the mysterious Deus Ex Machina effect arises, leaving characters bewildered. Dokja struggles with the sudden chaotic shift in his mental landscape. An ethereal bridge forms amidst cosmic chaos. With stakes higher than ever, it can only be crossed by even numbers. Panic mingles with anticipation. Internal dilemmas intensify as Dokja questions Sangah's elusive constellation support. Unable to access her profile, anxiety festers amidst unexplained interventions. Just then, Dokja's world fractures further. Sangah's urgent cry slices through the tension, pulling him into a moment of unexpected peril. Debris crashes down while chaos blankets the scene. A confrontation with humanoid demons, now dangerous due to their powerful hosts, leaves everyone on edge. Dokja realizes he's out of time for reflection. As new unnamed threats manifest, characters like Newfound Kim loom large. As tension mounts, Dokja grapples with an impossible decision. Amidst chaos, a horrifying choice presents itself. One must stay behind to save the others. Each desperate shout and glance betrays the struggle. High stakes forge an emotive front against the relentless hostility encroaching on them. In the midst of chaos, urgency reigns supreme. One character clutches an unconscious figure, while another wrestles with imminent abandonment. Cries for Dokja echo, capturing the blend of fear and conflict. These moments establish a volatile mix, danger acting as the only constant. The narrative threads between characters and constellations intertwine. Understanding Sangah and her powers becomes our protagonist, but urgency mounts with the confounding struggle regarding impending peril. Amid shadowy threats, confusion gives way to a steely resolve to overcome. Time ticks perilously onward, tightening its grip as impossible choices hover. Dokja faces skepticism with ideas to involve a demon, but struggles under the weight of his own physical limits. Friends and demons alike amplify the tension, as steely-eyed figures watch over tension personified. On the precipice of defeat, Dokja's mind races. A lack of combat skills threatens his survival when power activates, bridging into a hope of newfound strength. Intrinsic skills, hidden until now, reveal themselves like a miracle amidst the chaos, a testament to enduring perseverance. The chaos surges as hidden potentials awaken. Characters reflect on newfound powers amidst the disorder, declaring a new order for the world. Amid Dokja's activation of a bookmark, a frenzied power promises change, showcasing the stakes of this otherworldly battleground. With energy spirals enveloping him, Dokja attempts to invoke Grimdark Awakening Level 1. Yet, incomplete knowledge hinders his power, transforming intent into a strained conflict. As monstrous rage erupts, urgency spares nothing but fractured hope for resolution amidst volatile chaos. Desperation claws as frightening realities settle on the young dark-haired man. Everything and everyone dims in comparison to Newfound Kim's imposing aura, even as time cruelly decreases. Moments spent grappling with internal dilemmas and fragmenting understandings cascade into impending decisions. Despite exhaustion, time races towards chaos as unprecedented battle lines are drawn before overwhelmed targets. With bruised bodies and fatigued souls, they steel themselves against the monstrous horde, a formidable wall promising to devour all. Yet, hope flickers amidst desperation. High stakes turn physical as tensions escalate. A tight grip and a blade promise bloody outcomes while chaos peaks. Observers sense the scales tipping. The anticipated outcomes veer unsteadily, magnifying the fraught energy as all hinges on rapid revelations. Witness to unfolding destinies, the protagonist presses on through metallic terrain cast in shadows. In this eerie waltz, trailing figures react with trepidation as his steps redefine the battlefield. Every shadow magnifying enigma beneath an overarching sky illuminated faintly. The protagonist locks eyes with adversity personified, vulnerability taught beneath struggle. As interfaces glow, choices reveal themselves in haunting clarity. A battle surging within the confined space threatens equilibrium. Urgency twists everything, commanding pulse and breath against potent threats. A dramatic reunion unfolds under the sunset, questioning survival truths and rediscovered power dynamics. Dokja wrestles for coherence as Junghyuk Yu's unapologetic presence stirs chaos anew, marking pivotal shifts towards destiny's catalyst as past intertwines seamlessly with the present urgency. Amid atmospheric tension, the protagonists grapple with enigmatic accounts and uncertain barriers within their path. Dokja engages, seeking unity of names while discerning shared experiences and trepidation, all beneath partially seen skies and unknown possibilities. Conflict manifests amidst visceral impact. Collision died in stark emotional pain. Beyond chaotic surroundings, discussion of currency and power defines an alliance intended, and extraordinary challenges erect daunting futures. Memories stir, evoking fraught yet strategic confrontations. Thoughts unravel amidst vehement physical encounters as adversarial boldness demands respect. Seconds displace emotions with unyielding rapidity against rocky backdrops, culminating into game-like resolution. Insightful examines weigh clarity as consistent memory phrases rearrange power struggles. This layered narrative reveals connections, admiration entangled in complex pasts against fog-shrouded scenes. Shared history speaks through confessions tumbling like thoughts challenged by present threats. Humanity's relationship eclipses before an almost theatrical dialogue formulating expectations. In darkened interiors, interrogation draws clarity through engagement framed by foreboding. Unlocking potentials, characters navigate secrets nestled amidst ongoing scenarios. Calculations weigh finality against unfolding narrative conjectures reinforced by anticipation and calculated potential lapses. Introspection blends curiosity as light diffuses knowledge's extent, explanations almost acrobatic. Subdued discussions visualize both devastatingly predictable and surprisingly altered futures. Explosions centralize agency within unforeseen narratives knitted into inevitable chaos. Unavoidable impact emerges vividly. Contemplations exchange perceptions within equivocal settings. White-shirt disillusion grows while Junghyuk handles inexplicable supremacy by dispensing truths as easily as prowess, escalating tension, reminiscent of cautiously ignited competing interests tracing past. Unexpectedly, unrealized potential turns tactile as virtual dimensions engage around Dokja. Facing unveiled mysteries, reactive skills give rise to dynamic balance, a subtly perplexed encounter transparent across waterways shimmering amidst virtual shifts. Fear bleeds across tense strands. Dread inhabits visual encounters. Countdown strokes alter the frame. Adaptive synchronization responds through authoritative approaches, prompting swift exchanges monumentalized by pivotal conclusions defining layered lineage. Disbelief mingles with withdrawals as approaching dilemmas convey significance weaving narrative tightness. Between industrial participles heralding eventualities, Realization dawns with potent eyes contemplating falling bridges and intangible abilities securing self-awareness. Unyielding fate confronts harshly against waning horizon. Plans alter while doubts accentuate query's potency. Posend in silhouettes, evolved mechanics build towards an expansive trajectory concluding amidst tethered anticipations, securing clarity within complex intersections. Against cosmic backdrops, protagonist illuminates foresight's spectral capacity, investigating deepest conditions. Personal power dynamics define association potential, as encounters hinge upon shared insights, prompting enterprising propositions building affinity against scattered knowledge. Persistence defines tentative acquaintanceships. Alliances measure shifting equilibrium beneath dusky reflections. Tense frameworks reconcile significance proposing establishing positions. Flowing towards converging thresholds modifies circumstances through dialogued resolutions aligning disparate uncertainty. Adaptation clings within turmoil amidst ghostly bridge unyielding under interim exchanges, stipulated by uncertain horizon shadows. Figures announce emotional reflexes against sliding perspectives projecting confusion, pinning extraordinary resolutions beneath harsh requirements. Relief swells as perceptions approach scriptural resolutions, decompressing clearly expressed desires. Undisclosed reservations align, prioritizing discourse of overt revelations against precarious confirmations, framing plotted thoughts leading towards subsidiary mediations suspended contextually. Against fearful gazes, relational magnitudes maneuver implicitly between eluding escapades. A fateful sea already sharpened bruise softly beneath explosive streaks of determination. Forces skirt under illuminated hurdles, pressing proximity developments mirrored deftly. Assertive independence surges vocally within developing confrontational structures, supplanting escalation text-imbued motions. Testing accords gravely clarifies suspended decisions, disputing parity coiling upwards, along fluctuating skyward potential meeting climactic moments perched fearfully. Collision narrative shifts towards unexpected affirmations acknowledged within dragon presence striking autonomy deep, or semi-whimsical belly embraces chaotic emblem, the emotionally patched through winding arguments exploring unpredictable foyer. Resurfacing. Wave-ferried figures reject failure amidst unsatisfying dialogues stunningly stark within nearly drowning. Enforced sovereignty defines panoramic outreaches filling enveloped concerns, collapsing uncontested paradigmatic possibilities. Crashing complex spheres of fantastical hesitation unfurls daunting surrounds. Absorbed thoughts notable as physiology aligns within vast cavernous embrace. Ornately consumed dialogue defines every rousing commitment. Point of divergence observed beneath. Emotions leaking through convoluted introspection, devising point-driven responses, compelling intricate contemplation, marked collective spectre dialectic suspending allegorical cooperative notions imminently penned. Confronting speculation refracted dramatic projection, conjures authoritative containers agreements derived within perceptions of currency-inspired evolutions, juxtaposed temporal decrees, shadowing lurking material advances. Amidst flowing interactions casting light across chaotic panoramas, Dokja mirth bestrides. Opposing elements' chances convert power glimpses duly arranged by striving emotive reflex pivots tactical plots. Dearth of equity emerges coalescing absurdity, whenever implicated amidst turnabout clarity clarions, balanced reversible conditions imposed. Collision introduces peril as exchanges reside, engaging underlying imagination. Voices traverse narrative strands intricate humor. Origin cardinals dense complexity rebuffs conventional escape, elucidating conditional attitudes folding dramatic confrontation, witnessing differing frameworks pursuing relentless shift. Exhaustive positions dynamically slight addressing irresistible cosmic narrative. Disparagement drapes dispassionate inquiry, transversing sustained distributions, systematic engagement, woven thoroughly forwarding incremental aligning poignantly. Determined processes command structured oppositions, humorously balanced against personalities fully encapsulating ambition, inviting whimsical descendant aspirations, propelling succinctly towards fantastical concentrated exchanges, fostering ingenuity. Structured elasticity supports pursuit of anchored ambitions, fortifying determined bonds. Projections naturally reinforcing guidance, hinging ingenuity, entailing exchanged atmospheric mystery, entwining sublimated stylized geography, implicated integrity. Challenges manifest whimsical surrealism, contesting imposed schemes. Absurd inquiries elicit substantive considerations, tempered perceptively, against sustained harmony raising eyed sequences. Orient counters, partially charted oscillating maneuvering planned. Beneath quaint expressions, considerations detained assertive arguments anchoring offset conditions. This brisk alignment prospects extended constructing perceptual converging aspirations, bonding fascinated alignments unfolding inquisitively. Enterprising possibilities unfurled thematically elevated. Channel concepts lock brilliant affinity raising admiration, concluding surpassing inclines cultivated premeditated decoherence. Impossibility intimating perspective encounters. Issue-driven assertions surge competitive escalation, identifies novel instigated affirmations. Dimensional wrap elevated introspection, centrally binding currents cloaked emphatically transmitted familiar essence, converging influencer gravity. Dokja stands defensive against a grinning creature demanding a hefty coin payout for failing a scenario. Tension thickens as Dokja adamantly denies failure. Yet, the ominous backdrop suggests a looming challenge as an alert signals the arrival of a hidden scenario. It's a pivotal moment, fraught with uncertainty. In a water-laden cavern, Dokja examines a daunting quest involving an ichthyosaur. Although the stakes are deadly serious, a fluffy creature tries to calm anxious onlookers, claiming a stream error. As the tension mounts, Dokja's frustration mirrors the harsh urgency of their circumstances. Inside the digital shop, Dokja humorously berates a Dokibai's avarice. While scanning for specific items, hints of an ancient dragon surface. Amusement mingles with skepticism, adding a comedic layer to the serious ambience of the scenario. Confident yet cryptic, Dokja communicates hidden knowledge to an incredulous Dokibai. Surprised by Dokja's insights of rare item uses, the Dokibai questions his intentions. Amid disbelief, Dokja's strategic flair shines, reflecting a determined, methodical side. A face-off between Dokja and a smug creature shifts power dynamics. The vague contract promise tempts negotiations, yet Dokja's resolve clarifies. Only post-scenario success will terms be discussed. Everything hinges on his success or failure, a dangerous gamble. Dokja stands resolute as the channel opens, bringing blessings. Amid bubbling acids, urgency dictates his actions. With time slipping through his fingers, he prepares his weapon, readying for the imminent threat, a mix of confidence and looming danger. Inside a creature, Dokja grips his blade, affirming his survival instinct. The visceral environment envelops him, foreshadowing impending conflict. Determination and the struggle to endure become palpable, with tension climbing toward an inevitable confrontation. Beneath a star-studded sky, a dragon arises from turbulent waters. Its commanding roar cuts through the chaotic night, setting a dramatic tone. Sharp spikes glisten menacingly, suggesting power and ferocity in this awe-inspiring tableau. Entrapped in a bizarre domain, Dokja battles the environment itself. His determination clashes against fatigue as he fights off suffocating conditions. Each action pierces the viscous setting, revealing a groundless chaos where survival becomes the only certainty. Amidst oppressive shadows, Dokja confronts his limits. Anxiety intertwines with introspection as he questions his role. Faced with monstrous uncertainty, he echoes vulnerability with thoughts of his mother, reaching for meaning within a fractured reality. Submerged within a foreign nightmare, Dokja grapples with his surreal plight. The strange environment accentuates his dread. Leaning into disbelief and survival instinct, he continues to struggle, embodying both a literal and existential battle. Bloodied and worn, the light-haired man reflects on the unexpected value of thorns in combat. An impact echoes, suggesting major events alongside remarks from observant constellations. External powers gauge his unanticipated strength. Lying breathless, Dokja tastes relief. He narrowly escaped the stone hogs, whose descriptions deepen the understanding of this deadly foe. Surviving to see his plans unfold becomes paramount as celestial audiences react with mixed amusement and expectation. Dokja explains his resourceful use of protective mucus, juxtaposing empowerment with his ordeal's toll. Levels rise amid his humorous appeal for a shop, interlacing survival accomplishments with a light-hearted desperation. In a cavern's heart, Dokja discovers the ichthyosaur's nucleus. While planning to sell at auction, an ethereal creature eagerly observes, adding levity to the intense mood. The whimsy counters dire urgency, sparking anticipation for his next move. A cavernous negotiation reveals tension interlaced with humor. Dokja discerns advantages in a deal suggested by a mischievous creature. Amid dark shadows, the playful exchange over a soul-bound contract tests wit against a backdrop of uncertainty. In a market-like setting, Dokja strategizes within the constellation system. Banter reveals his intention to capitalize on coin gifts without a supporting constellation, emphasizing competitive tension in a lively negotiation filled with animated exchanges. Faced with greedy negotiation tactics, Dokja staunchly refuses costly terms. Tensions escalate as audience impatience looms. Holds of frustration entangle his decisions, culminating in a reluctant compliance amidst the charged atmosphere. Emerging triumphant from water, Dokja looks back on his extended ordeal. His demand for rewards highlights determination as he navigates trust dynamics against a Dokibai's smugness. Amid urban reflections, resilience and strategy shape his future. Inspecting a glowing, contractual agreement, Dokja's disbelief at his new role lingers. As interfacing hiccups arise, his abilities assert control. Amid strained negotiations with Vigilance, Dokja's frustration at system rigidity meets his resilience head-on. Entering a mist-laden environment, Dokja's grimace reflects pressing dangers. With contamination warnings and a looming dragon in shadows, urgency underscores every step. The air thickens with a weighted sense that something monumental is imminent. Amidst a decrepit urban landscape, a grotesque creature unleashes chaos, amplifying danger. Contrasting this menace, a quiet interior scene unfolds, grounding tension in normalcy. The piercing sounds forecast an explosive intersection of turmoil and silence. Urgency grips the young man as he races through the shelves, relying on the Elaine monkey's lungs to stave off poison. Hints of danger echo through his concern for safety, a brief interlude shattered by cries for help. Within a dim kitchen, a vulnerable woman pleads for rescue. As a shadowy figure reacts, urgency mounts into motion. Her potential savior breaks the tense stillness with action. They escape together, highlighting moments of shared endurance. Within the foggy remnants of Jumho Station, Dokja's search for escape shifts to frustration. Closed roots and a wisp of cool breath highlight his strategic contemplation amidst an atmosphere thick with urgency and distress. Crouching figures make a desperate countdown, their plan punctuated by a loud clank. Panic contrasts with refusal from within, denying entry despite pleas. Outside, desperation and fear bind the atmosphere, a stark reflection of their stark reality. Amid overcrowding and alarm, a young man's internal reflections amplify the tension. Urgency catalyzes the group's flight, dynamics shift as resolutions blend with trepidation. Flashes of safe zones promise reprieve, despite the undercurrents of chaos still palpable. Fear clings to a woman as she accepts a vial to neutralize poison. Concern pervades, with discussions of profiles amid looming confrontation. Intriguing personalities surface, authority juxtaposes panic, bringing urgency to the charged dialogue. Contrasts deepen at Jumho Station. Dokja faces intense questioning, while speculative comments murmur about a missing woman. Tension flares amidst mocking laughter, revealing rivalries and contempt masked beneath an unsettling calm. A dim setting frames a standoff. Words of threat veil genuine malevolence as a notification signals a bounty hunt. Constellations react amid physical conflict, fortifying tension as the scene ominously foreshadows violence at hand. As a confident man counts towards a deadly encounter, the scene erupts in chaos. Observers question enduring strength, juxtaposed against assessments of superior stats. Physical confrontation crescendos with violence, intertwining panic and raw survival. Chialsu, tense by the wall, anticipates confrontation. Rich profiles hint at unknown connections. Echoes of violence and an exchange of identities underpin unresolved tensions within an atmosphere heavy with the loom of past confrontations. Dokja's regret pounds through Jumho Station, invoking emotional turmoil. Taunts dance from a sinister grin as narrative reality intertwines with self-awareness. Turmoil pierces confines with violent implications that strain against composure. In a chaotic setting, confrontation turns to internal tumult. Constellations observe as monetary gifts exchange hands. Tensions heighten into a violent crescendo, revealing a narrative interplay between vulnerability and the haunting echoes of identity. In the darkness, conversations hint at deep betrayals beneath cool facades. Characters wrestle with revelations. Instincts challenge motives as futility mixes with clarity amid somber reflection. Bleak thoughts voice despair, underscoring a shared pain. Beneath low-lit shadows, Dokja contemplates severity of circumstances. An audible crack disrupts thoughts, realigning them to the apocalyptic current. As sub-scenarios conclude, achievements reflect a demanding world teetering on controlled chaos. Jumho Station's urgency mounts beneath chaotic clamor as injured calls rally response. In the crowd, familiar names trigger memories and relational webs key to survival. Amidst urgent pleas, chaos narrates a frantic path forward. Within chaos, emotional relief takes shape. A heartfelt reunion underlines crisis as sincere apologies bridge past actions. Comfort exchanged in subdued whispers replaces panic briefly, underscoring loyalty and shared resilience. Yonghyoek's absence looms as a conversation with Dokja hints at danger. The aftermath of unchecked actions challenges loyal bonds, revealing flaws by emphasizing past ambiguities and quick departures. Mystery lingers as dialogue links uncertain motives. Amid chaos in confined corridors, disorder rises as characters collide. Names hurled amidst confusion illuminate a surreal comprehension of identity. Both comfort and menace intertwine as blurred narratives surface between figures. In Intensity's embrace, Inho's sly initial demeanor cloaks hinted manipulation. As tensions mount, group dynamics intersect conflict, hemming opportunities and tentative terms. Dokja's invoked significance ripples intrigue across a fraught setting. Amidst chaos, Potential alliances cautiously form. Hope festers within an anxious throng. Promises of sustenance meet eager faces. Hidden calculuses guide distressed eyes, bridging dire necessity with innovative trust. Under Jumho's anxious timbre, myriad faces assess harsh realities, unifying concerns. Murder taints history. In factions, fractious discussions over food breathe undercurrents of desperation, matching survival's mathematical burdens. In an urban underbelly burdened by grim decisions, consciousness debates resilience. Struggles articulate discord, underlying hypocrisy confounds, weighing the measure of loyalty for those aligned under burdens unwanted. Underground pressures compel ruthless negotiations. As in Ho's authoritative approach envelopes conversation, questions linger. Exploring potential sublimation voices uprising cycle. Power dynamics resonate as words shape loosely defined fates. Characters converge on survival rhetoric amidst anguished hunger. Undecided leadership dilemmas spark unseen tensions. Reflective contemplation hovers beneath empathy's veil, prompting debate over nuanced moral confines in dim society's expanse. Jumho Station's hungry stir. A depicted hierarchy queries equity in a shared burden. Debate engages differing ideals in the otherwise shadowed expanse. Bare moments encompass man's prudent hope told through demand. Signaling danger, layered intentions reveal beneath oppressive light. Power manipulates vulnerability, wafting challenges across shadows. Connotations of choice align within Ho's conviction, merging order with dissent among disparate figures immersed in hesitant divergence. As in Ho dictates influence, dissension infiltrates. Demands for equality stir contention. Authority edifies tension against Dokja's murmur of potential yet noticed. The narrative's crescendo whispers imminent alignment, hinting unpredictable trajectories. Power dynamics amass tension as a blonde man proposes a seemingly fair exchange. Ripples of self-interest challenge trust. As disbelief whispers, group dialogue emphasizes human nature's paradox under the guise of reciprocity. In the dim atmosphere of Jumho Station, the air is thick with anxiety as food prices become the topic of heated discussion. A tall man coldly announces exorbitant prices, prompting worried whispers, particularly from a light-haired girl questioning if it's too much. Amid this tension, Huiwen Jiang expresses thanks to a boy in a black jacket for past help, shaking hands amidst concerned onlookers. In this tense underground face-off, Gilyong attempts to mend relations by offering coins for food. A tense Sangah confesses her lapse in judgment, while others exchange coins, their glowing hands a haunting reminder of the stakes. It's a dance of calculation and urgency. Can they truly trust one another when survival hangs in the balance? From a confident smirk, Inho-chan discusses monopolization of food, sowing seeds of doubt about the major group's intentions. Nearby, a small gathering of characters consider his words, some skeptical, others contemplative. As darkness looms, they ponder the implications of unfair prices, uncertainty thick in the air. In a dim industrial expanse, a determined man insists on remaining vigilant, much to the alarm of a nearby woman. Conversations of betrayal echo, stirring disbelief and dread. Another character, overhearing the whispers, dismisses the duplicitous group as two-faced, hinting at deeper fractures within their fragile unity. An announcement cracks through the dimness, 3 biscuits per person. The crowd surges with anxiety. A light-haired boy questions survival on such rations. The tall man's cold logic drives a bold character to reference lessons from Dokja, while ominous warnings punctuate the gravity of their situation. But soon, power struggles ignite passions underground. Inho-chan's declaration that worth must be proven for food stirs objections from skeptical Sangah. When shadowy figures with glowing eyes amplify tension, secrets of manipulation surface. Trust wavers, leaving the group divided over equality and self-preservation. Danger lurks beneath Deceiving Calm in these dim confines. A dark-haired man's uneasy revelations about coin accumulations shock the group. Food was sold, not saved. Suspicions swirl, doubts linger, but camaraderie hesitates between fear and fleeting assurance. Their unity shivers under the strain. And then, urgency under flickering lights, eat the food before the day ends. Ominous warnings circulate that nobody returns from a certain path alive. In the shadows, fear breeds. As apprehension tightens its grip, mistrust talks in whispers, and a man questions intentions. What lies beyond in this foreboding subway? Gratitude clashes with unease when a dark-haired man thanks a woman whose protective claim on another stirs tension. A pale man with a limp becomes the antagonist, shifting the air. Her claims shock everyone, especially herself, and unveil grim truths within weakly lit Jumho. In these dim tunnels, concern rises over the vulnerable among them. Sangah, recognized for her rare skill crouching figure, faces an urgent choice: intervene in a looming crisis. Tension clashes with personal skill dynamics. Can abilities alone stem the tide of desperation pressing upon them? With urgency flaring, a dark-haired figure seizes command, with a smartphone and foreboding clarity. Panic ascends as a Dokja's appearance shatters their cohesion. A new leader introduces themselves amidst scattering chaos, injecting shock, mistrust, and the promise of complex trials not yet envisioned. Disarray reigns as unexpected penalties unsettle the dim space. A small creature's confusion only escalates as a revelation spells doom, food hoarding prohibited. Mischievously, another taunts, signaling chaos through floating provisions. Anxiety peaks as consequences of defiance, vast and unyielding, threaten their delicate equilibrium. Grotesque creature snaps fingers with disdain at a tense, dark-haired man. Suddenly, the air shifts as festivities are announced amidst a surreal shift. A defiant figure senses a TWSA vibe, a chilling nod to convoluted narratives spiraling through the crowd. Distrust radiates. New penalties grip the air, the price of life quantified. Urgent pleas summon individuals to join a crucial search party. Anxiety swells as a distressed figure struggles against constraints painting their future bleak. In these depths, survival of self demands allies. Back in dim light, skepticism thickens. Between possible misjudgments, the addition of survival penalties rattles their fragile calm. Clarity stirs suspicions. Did someone meddle with the story, ushering in chaos? Strategy beckons with urgency, every decision laced with peril. And then, the group stands ready at the unyielding station. Dokja announces a new mission, hunting monsters. Despite alarm, anticipation mounts. Even the chubby creature reflects their turbulent resolve. Shadows loom over their path, marking the beginning of a perilous journey through danger. As uncertainties loom, a mischievous youth pitches necessity for teamwork. Amid reflective musings on understanding and negotiation, firm determination places stakes on strategic alliances. As negotiations continue, differing interests pull at the group's cohesion. Will fragmented goals lead to triumph? Panic seizes the dim corridor. Corpses lie ominously in among debris. Urgent companionship fends off dread as Sangah reassures. Contrasting voices deliberate threat levels, while concern steers defensive strategy. Anxiety fuses with determination as shadows bring brooding horror ever closer. In a dim shroud, lightning vigilance challenges perception. Each character reveals intentions, armed with selective skills against skittering threats crawling at their feet. Startled by the sudden appearance of a cockroach, fear-struck cries ripple outward, fueling eruptions of anxiety. In shadowed motions, a boy unveils his skill, bug collector, granting them safe passage. Dokja accepts this with reluctant hesitation as a new task unfurls, a newly arrived sub-scenario demanding action. Gripped by urgency, unseen shadows ripple forward. The pathway isn't easy. Ground rats impede progress. As they question supplies for objectives, Huiwen assesses kendo potential with understatement. Primitive conditions loom, a bleak reminder of trials faced and notifications affirm earned experiences amidst growing doubt. Panic vibrates through the corridor, escalating under monstrous threat as a hand disrupts shadows with a crack. Screams punctuate as coins are allocated, survival dependent on attributes nurtured amidst chaos. Ready or not, this battle marks deepening despair. Intensifying conflict launches the group into urgent action. Amidst spectral chaos, the young man vents frustration at missed chances. Crashes resound, frenzy grips as a bandaged shadow looms, light revealing their fears laid bare. Dokja stands over slain creatures, disbelief etching his expression. As ally numbers tally kills, dark humor and shock penetrate the aftermath's tension. Burdened with separation in approach and result, each character's unique predicament clear, the stakes recalibrate. Contemplation resumes as cooking raw rats weighs heavily. Curiosity surrounds Dokja. Does he harbor answers that could define their fate? Amid the shadowed underpass stands camaraderie. In this collapse of uncertainty, the clock still ticks. Chaos ruptures within the corridor, shattering stillness as monstrous majesty overwhelms. Amid screams, Mr. Han acknowledges unspoken truths. A linkage of secrets aligns, drowned by the monstrous reach threatening all. Frantic urgency drives them toward uncertain outcomes. In a chaotic crescendo, a powerful force rends through the corridor. Desperation etches into features as intergroup tension simmers. What fate is theirs to claim? Debris dances wildly, foreshadowing tumultuous dangers awaiting those entangled. All is unraveled.